Welcome back to U.S. Coins Worth Secrets, the only place where history, treasure, and wealth collide right in the palm of your hand. Tonight, we are not just talking about pocket change. We are talking about coins so rare, so powerful, that they can turn an ordinary collector into a legend overnight. Imagine holding a simple nickel that looks just like any other coin, but in reality, it holds the weight of a fortune. These are not just coins. They are treasures sealed in history. Treasures that collectors fight for in today's auction market. So sit tight, because in this journey we are going to uncover 7 of the most ultra-rare, most valuable nickels in American history. Each one tells a story of war, survival, and scarcity. Each one carries secrets that most people will never know. And I promise you, by the end of this video, you'll never look at nickels the same way again. Coin number 1. The year is 1945. The world is on fire. World War II is reaching its final dramatic chapter, and every single piece of American industry is being redirected to support the war effort. From tanks to planes to rifles, steel, copper, and nickel were worth their weight in life itself. And while American soldiers were fighting overseas, something extraordinary was happening right here at home in the United States. Mint. The government knew that nickel, the very metal used in our everyday 5-cent coin, was desperately needed for armor plating and weapons. But how could they continue producing the nation's currency while saving enough nickel for the war? The solution gave birth to one of the most fascinating chapters in U.S. coinage, the War Nickel series. Between 1942 and 1945, the Jefferson nickel, also called the Monticello nickel, underwent a historic transformation. Instead of the usual 75% copper and 25% nickel alloy, these special coins were struck in a unique wartime composition: 56% copper, 35% silver, and 9% manganese. Yes, you heard that right, silver. For the first and only time in history, a standard U.S. nickel was made with silver to conserve nickel for the war. And out of this wartime necessity came one of the most coveted rarities of the entire series: the 1945 Monticello 5 cents with the large S mint mark. Now, what makes this coin so incredibly desirable among collectors is not just the fact that it contains silver. It's the story etched into every detail. On the reverse side, above the Monticello building, you'll see a large, bold S mint mark. This isn't the tiny mint mark you see on ordinary coins. During the war, the U.S. Mint deliberately made these mint marks larger than usual so that inspectors could quickly tell the silver nickels apart from regular nickels. That oversized S is a symbol, a reminder of wartime sacrifice, a sign that this coin was part of something far bigger than commerce. It was part of America's fight for freedom. Every time you hold one of these coins, you're not just holding money, you're holding a piece of wartime history. Now let's talk about rarity. Millions of these war nickels were minted, but time has not been kind to them. Many were spent and respent during the late 1940s and 1950s, their silver content wearing down under decades of use. Others were melted down in later years for their silver value, forever erased from existence. Finding a 1945 large S war nickel today in fine condition, still carrying its wartime shine, its bold mint mark, its untouched detail, is not just rare, it's extraordinary. Collectors around the world hunt for this exact date and mint mark combination. Why? Because it's the final year of the War Nickel series, the symbolic end of a 4-year chapter that forever changed U.S. coinage. And that's where the demand explodes. Because serious collectors don't just want a war nickel. They want the war nickel. They want the one that closes the story, the 1945 S. And when demand and rarity collide, that's when prices rise into treasure territory. Now, let's get to the moment you've been waiting for. If you've been wondering what this coin is worth in today's market, buckle up. Because this is not just pocket change. This is not just a collector's trinket. This is wealth condensed into metal. In 1945, Monticello, 5 cents war nickel with a large S mint mark in fine condition today, is commanding a jaw-dropping $145,500 in the auction market. Yes, you heard me right, $145,500 for a 5-cent coin. That's not a coin. That's a treasure chest disguised as a nickel. And here's the truth you need to hear. This isn't fiction. This isn't a dream. This is the actual current value in today's auction world. The price is climbing every year, every month, every day, because collectors know once these coins disappear into private collections, they may never see the light of day again. Owning one is like holding a fortune that only grows more powerful with time. So, what should you do if you want to chase this treasure? First, always check your nickels. Dig into that old jar of coins, search through estate sales, flea markets, even your grandparents' dresser drawers. Look closely at every Jefferson nickel from 1942 through 1945. Flip it over. Do you see that oversized mint mark above Monticello? If it's an S, P, or D in bold, you may have stumbled upon a war nickel. But here's the insider tip. The 1945 large S is the crown jewel. If you find one, especially in fine condition or better, you're not just lucky, you're sitting on a treasure. And when it comes to grading and selling, always use trusted dealers and auction houses. Authenticity is everything in this market. The 1945 Monticello war nickel with the large S mint mark isn't just money. It's a relic of war, a symbol of America's sacrifice and a financial treasure that has skyrocketed in value. Holding one is like holding history, power, and fortune all in the palm of your hand. And that, my friends, is why this coin is more than just 5 cents. It is a door to wealth, a key to history, and one of the most demanded treasures in the entire U.S. Coinage world. And remember, here on U.S. Coins Worth Secrets, we bring you faithful, truthful, and freshly updated stories every single day. This is the place where collectors find knowledge, treasure hunters find hope, and ordinary viewers discover that hidden fortune may be closer than they think. Coin number 2. The story of this next coin begins in one of the darkest yet most determined years in American history, 1942. Picture this. The United States had just entered World War II after the attack on Pearl Harbor. Factories were roaring day and night. The entire nation had shifted into war mode. Every resource was precious and nothing could be wasted. Now imagine the U.S. Mint, which for decades had quietly produced coins for everyday life, suddenly receiving an urgent order from the government. Nickel, the very lifeblood of the 5-cent piece, was needed for the war. Without it, American tanks, ships, and weapons couldn't be built. Without it, soldiers overseas would be left vulnerable. So what did the mint do? It made history. 1942 was the turning point. For the first time in the American coinage, the Jefferson nickel abandoned its traditional nickel-copper mix and was transformed into something never seen before, a wartime alloy of 56% copper, 35% silver, and 9% manganese. This change wasn't just an adjustment, it was a revolution. And among these wartime nickels, one particular coin stands out as a towering rarity. The 1942 Monticello war nickel with the large P mint mark. The moment you flip this coin over, you'll notice something absolutely unique. Above Monticello, standing proudly, is a massive P mint mark. This was the first time in U.S. history that the Philadelphia Mint, our nation's primary mint, placed a mint mark on a coin. Until that moment, Philadelphia coins had always carried no identifying mark at all. This large P became a bold symbol. It was more than just a letter, it was America's announcement to the world. We are at war, and even our coins are serving the cause. To collectors, that oversized P isn't just a design element. It's a piece of history, a marker of the exact year America shifted everything to ensure victory in World War II. And because this was the first year of the Civil War nickels, the 1942 large P is not just a coin, it's a beginning. It represents the start of one of the most fascinating and short-lived series in U.S. coinage. Now, here's where it gets truly fascinating. While many of these coins circulated heavily during the 1940s and beyond, finding one today in circulated condition that still shows its bold mint mark, its wartime silver shine, and its original details is a remarkable challenge. Why? Because these coins weren't just spent. They were abused, melted, hoarded, and often discarded as silver prices rose. Decades of circulation have worn down most surviving examples. And yet, the demand among collectors for this first P mint-marked nickel is skyrocketing. It's the coin that every serious Jefferson nickel collector needs to complete their wartime series. And its rarity ensures that bidding wars erupt whenever one appears at auction. Collectors know one thing. If you want to own a coin that tells the exact moment history changed, you need the 1942 large P. Now let's peel back the curtain. What is this coin worth in today's market? Hold on to your seat, because what I'm about to reveal is nothing short of staggering. A 1942 Monticello 5-cent war nickel with a large P mint mark, even in circulated condition, is commanding a mind-blowing $169,000 at auction today. Yes, you heard that right, $169,000 for a 5-cent piece that most people would overlook as pocket change. And this isn't speculation. This isn't an exaggeration. This is the current real market value. A treasure like this is more than money, it's a vault of history. And every single year, the price only climbs higher. The market for rare war nickels is hotter than ever, and coins like the 1942 large P are leading the charge. Think about it. To hold a circulated nickel, something that once changed hands in grocery stores during the 1940s, and now realize that it's worth nearly $170,000, that's not a coin, that's a life-changing discovery, a hidden fortune waiting to be found. So how do you make sure you don't miss out on this treasure? Here's what you need to do. Go back and re-examine every single Jefferson nickel you've ever come across from the 1940s. Pay special attention to 1942, flip it over. Look closely above Monticello. If you see a bold, oversized P, don't ignore it. That's not just a mint mark. That's a symbol of wartime sacrifice and a ticket to unimaginable wealth. Even in circulated condition, this coin holds staggering value. And if you're lucky enough to find one in higher grades, you're holding a piece of treasure that will only grow more valuable as time goes on. The market is hungry for these coins, and the demand is unshakable. The 1942 Monticello war nickel with the large P mint mark is a coin that redefined American coinage history. It marked the first silver nickel, the first P mint mark in history, and it carried the weight of a nation at war. In today's market, it has become a shining symbol of how something as small as a nickel can turn into a fortune, a treasure chest hidden in plain sight. So when you look at your change, don't just see coins, see opportunity, see history, see treasure. Because the next time you pick up a Jefferson nickel, it could be the one that changes your life forever. And remember, U.S. Coins Worth Secrets is here every single day, bringing you fresh, truthful, and faithful updates on the most valuable coins in America. We don't deal in myths, we reveal treasures. And this, my friends, is just the beginning. Coin number 3. When we step into the year 1943, the world was in its fiercest storm. The United States was in the very heart of World War II, a year when every ounce of metal, fuel, and manpower was devoted to the fight for freedom. Soldiers were storming beaches across Europe. Factories at home were producing weapons day and night, and the American people were sacrificing everything for victory. And right in the middle of this struggle, something extraordinary appeared in the pocket change of ordinary Americans, the 1943 Monticello war nickel with the large S mint mark. This is not just a coin. It is a time capsule of courage, sacrifice, and survival. And today, it is one of the rarest and most valuable nickels to ever emerge from American history. By 1943, the U.S. Mint had fully committed to conserving nickel for the war effort. Nickel was desperately needed to harden steel for tanks, airplanes, and ships. So, just like the year before, the standard Jefferson nickel was transformed into an emergency wartime composition. 56% copper, 35% silver, and 9% manganese. Think about that, an ordinary 5-cent coin secretly hiding silver inside. At the time, most people didn't even realize their nickels had changed. But collectors today know the truth. These were no ordinary coins. They were forged in one of the most desperate years of the war, and every single one tells a story. The 1943 war nickel is instantly recognizable for one reason: the massive mint mark stamped above Monticello on the reverse side. In this case, it's a bold, oversized S from the San Francisco Mint. This wasn't a subtle detail. The U.S. Mint deliberately made the wartime mint marks huge so officials could instantly identify these silver nickels from regular ones. That large S has since become legendary. It is the San Francisco Mint's wartime signature, a declaration that even the coins were doing their part for victory. And to make this even more compelling, the 1943 with S war nickel is one of the most elusive finds from the entire series. Many were heavily circulated, worn down, and eventually lost to time. Finding one today in circulated condition that still carries its details, its silver composition, and its historic oversized S is a remarkable treasure. The rarity of this coin cannot be overstated. Unlike some years, the 1943S was produced in smaller numbers and saw heavy use during and after the war. People didn't save them, they spent them. And in the decades that followed, many of these coins were melted down for their silver content. This has created a perfect storm of scarcity. Collectors worldwide are desperate to secure this coin, not just because it is rare, but because it carries deep symbolic meaning. It represents the very peak of wartime America, a year when everything was on the line. The demand is so fierce that even circulated examples, coins that have seen the wear of history, are prized like gold. And when supply can't keep up with demand, the value of such treasures explodes. So let's uncover the truth you've been waiting for. What is a 1943 Monticello war nickel with a large S mint mark in circulated condition worth in today's market? The answer is breathtaking. This coin commands an astonishing $155,500 in the auction world today. Yes, you heard me correctly. $155,500 for a nickel, most people would mistake for spare change. This is not fantasy, this is the current market reality. It's a number so powerful it can change a collector's life overnight. And here's what's even more thrilling. The value of this coin is rising steadily, year after year. Collectors know it. Investors know it. This is not just a coin, it is a treasure chest disguised as pocket change. Owning one is like holding lightning in your hands, a fortune that only grows brighter as time passes. So, how can you make sure you don't miss the chance to discover one of these treasures? The secret lies in paying close attention to details. When you see a Jefferson nickel from the early 1940s, don't rush past it. Flip it over. Look above Monticello. If you see a large S, stop and take a closer look. Test it. Weigh it. Because that one overlooked coin could be the key to a fortune. And remember, condition matters, but with the 1943 with S, even a circulated example is a king among coins. Always have these coins authenticated by professionals before you buy or sell, because the market is booming, and authenticity is everything. The 1943 Monticello war nickel with the large S mint mark is more than just a piece of money. It's a story of sacrifice, a relic of America's fight for victory, and today, one of the most valuable nickels ever struck. To hold one is to hold history, wealth, and legacy all at once. And in the auction world, this coin has proven that even a simple 5-cent piece can become a treasure worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. This, my friends, is why we say, never underestimate the coins in your pocket. They may just be the key to unlocking wealth beyond your imagination. And as always, here on U.S. Coins Worth Secrets, we bring you the truth, the faith, and the freshest updates on treasures hiding in American coinage. Stay with us because the next coin on our list will blow your mind even more. Coin number 4. The year is 1936. The Great Depression is finally loosening its grip on America. Across the country, people are slowly regaining hope, but times are still tough. Jobs are scarce, money is tight, and then every coin mattered more than ever. And yet, in this moment of hardship, the United States Mint was producing one of the most beautiful, legendary, and now ultra-valuable coins in American history, the Buffalo nickel. This coin isn't just rare. It's a cultural treasure, a symbol of the American frontier, and one of the most sought-after coins in the entire world of numismatics. And when we talk about the 1936 Buffalo nickel without mint mark, we are talking about a true masterpiece that today is valued beyond imagination. The Buffalo nickel, also known as the Indian head nickel, was first introduced in 1913. It was designed by the famous sculptor James Earl Fraser, a man who wanted to capture the raw, untamed spirit of America's past. On the front, you see the noble profile of a Native American chief, a design believed to be a composite of several real tribal leaders. On the back, you find one of the most powerful images ever put on U.S. coinage, a massive American bison, often called a buffalo. It's rugged. It's bold. It's pure Americana. By 1936, the Buffalo nickel was in its final years of production, making coins from this date even more historically significant. Soon after, this design would vanish forever, replaced by the Jefferson nickel. That means the 1936 issue represents one of the last breaths of this legendary coinage series. Now let's focus on the 1936 Buffalo nickel without a mint mark. This means it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which at the time produced the bulk of America's coinage. At first glance, it may look like any other buffalo nickel. But here's the truth. Coins from this year, especially from Philadelphia, are notoriously hard to find in fine condition today. The design itself, full of bold detail and high relief, wore down extremely quickly in circulation. The Native American's cheekbone, the bison's shoulder, the lettering, all of it rubbed smooth after just a few years of use. So when a collector stumbles across a 1936 Buffalo nickel that still holds its sharp details with no mint mark, in fine condition, they know they've uncovered something truly extraordinary. Collectors have always had a special love affair with the Buffalo nickel. It's one of the most beloved designs in U.S. history, representing both art and heritage. But coins like the 1936 no mint mark issue are a different breed altogether. Why? Because they are rare survivors. Most of the 1936 Philadelphia nickels were circulated into oblivion. Decades of use, pocket wear, and melting have left only a tiny fraction in collectible grades. That scarcity drives collector demand through the roof. And here's the kicker. Because it's from the last years of the Buffalo nickel's life, collectors know that owning a 1936 issue is like owning a final chapter of American coinage art. They don't just want it. They need it. And when thousands of collectors want the same rare coin, the market explodes. So here's the revelation you've been waiting for. What does a 1936 Buffalo nickel without mint mark in fine condition sell for in today's auction market? Get ready, because this coin is commanding an astounding $148,500 right now. Yes, you heard that right. $148,500 for a coin with a face value of just 5 cents. That's not a coin. That's a treasure chest locked in metal. That's the kind of discovery that can change a collector's fortune forever. And this isn't speculation. This is the current market value. The price has risen year after year, and collectors know it's only going higher. The 1936 Buffalo nickel is no longer just a piece of history. It's an investment, a living fortune that grows stronger every single day. So, how do you make sure you don't miss your chance with this legendary coin? Here's the insider knowledge. Whenever you come across a Buffalo nickel, don't dismiss it. Check the date carefully. Look for 1936, and most importantly, check for a mint mark. If there's no letter under the words 5 cents, that means you've found the Philadelphia issue. Even in circulated condition, these coins are treasure. But the closer you get to fine condition or better, the more explosive the value becomes. And if you're holding one right now, my advice is simple. Guard it like gold. Because it is far more than just a coin, it's a fortune waiting to be realized. The 1936 Buffalo nickel without mint mark is more than just money. It's art. It's history. It's America itself, struck in metal and preserved through time. Today, it has become one of the most valuable treasures in the world of U.S. coinage. To hold one is to hold a masterpiece of American design and a life-changing fortune in the palm of your hand. That's why this coin stands as a shining reminder. Sometimes the smallest coins hide the biggest treasures. And here on U.S. Coins Worth Secrets, we bring you these treasures faithfully, truthfully, and freshly updated every single day. Because the world of rare U.S. coins isn't just about collecting, it's about uncovering history, wealth, and legacy in ways that defy imagination. Coin number 5. Now, coin lovers, prepare yourselves, because next in our showcase is a Buffalo nickel that carries not just beauty, but also an enormous value hidden beneath its rugged surface. We're talking about the 1927 Buffalo nickel without a mint mark in fine condition, a coin that has collectors around the globe absolutely buzzing with excitement. The Buffalo nickel series is already one of the most admired and iconic coin series in American history. But the 1927 issue, especially those struck in Philadelphia with no mint mark, carries a fascinating backstory. These nickels were struck in massive numbers, but over time, most were worn down through everyday circulation. Finding one in fine condition today is like striking silver in the rough. And let's not forget the details, the proud Native American profile on the obverse, and the mighty American bison standing strong on the reverse. Even in circulated form, when this coin still has its detail, it radiates pure American history and artistry. Now here comes the jaw-dropper. While the typical collector might assume this coin is worth a modest amount, the truth is much more dramatic. This 1927 Buffalo nickel without mint mark, in fine condition, rare and beautiful, commands a market value of an unbelievable $163,500 today. That's right, 6 figures for a nickel that once bought you a stick of gum. Collectors and investors know scarcity plus condition equals value. And this coin has both. It's not just a piece of pocket change, it's a treasure chest in nickel form, carrying with it the spirit of America's roaring 1920s and the artistry of James Earl Fraser, the designer who immortalized this design. Imagine holding this coin, knowing its history, its journey through almost a century of hands, pockets, and safekeeping, then realizing that today it's worth as much as a brand new luxury car or even a down payment on a mansion. Friends, the 1927 Buffalo nickel is living proof that not all treasure is gold. Sometimes it's a humble nickel, with a story worth over $163,500. Stay with me, because the next coins we're about to uncover only push the boundaries of rarity and value even further. Coin number 6. Imagine holding in your hand a coin that carries not only the weight of history, but the kind of staggering value that could transform an ordinary day into the discovery of a coin that, at first glance, looks simple and humble, but in reality, hides the brilliance of an American masterpiece and the potential to change your financial future. Welcome, my friends, to the world of the 1921 Buffalo nickel without mint mark, a coin that stands today as one of the most breathtaking treasures in numismatic history. This isn't just a coin. This is a piece of living. A coin struck in the roaring 1920s, when jazz filled the streets, when the country was shifting into a new modern age, and when even a nickel had the power to feed a family or light a... It is from this exact moment in history that the 1921 Buffalo nickel was born, and today it has grown into one of the rarest and most desired coins on the planet. The Buffalo nickel, designed by the legendary sculptor James Earl Fraser, had already earned its reputation as one of the most artistic and symbolic designs ever struck by the United States Mint. First released in 1913, its goal was simple yet powerful: to embody the rugged, untamed spirit of America. On the front, the Native American chief, bold and proud, represents a people and a heritage that shaped the very soul of this land. On the back, the mighty American bison, standing tall and unyielding, symbolizes strength, endurance, and the wilderness of a nation still coming into its own. But by 1921, things had changed. The U.S. Mint was under immense pressure to produce coinage quickly and in huge numbers. Yet the Buffalo nickel, with its deeply detailed design, was notoriously difficult to strike clearly. Many examples from 1921 show weak details or heavy wear, making well-preserved survivors almost legendary. And those struck at Philadelphia, the ones with no mint mark, became the most desirable of all. Now, let's dive into what makes this 1921 Buffalo nickel without mint mark so breathtakingly unique. First, the year itself is rare. Only a limited mintage was produced, and the Philadelphia Mint, unlike Denver or San Francisco, did not leave any identifying mint marks, leaving the coins anonymous and mysterious. Second, the fine condition of this coin elevates it to another level. Remember, the Buffalo nickel design was notorious for wearing down quickly. The high points of the Native Americans' cheekbone, the braid in the hair, the bison's shoulder and horn, these were the first to vanish with circulation. To find a 1921 no mint mark nickel today that still shows strong detail is nothing less than extraordinary. It is not just a coin, it is a survivor. A warrior of the past that has lived through over a century of history, wars, economic changes, and countless hands, and still today it emerges as a shining relic of America's greatness. Collectors and investors alike know that rarity is the heartbeat of value. And the 1921 Buffalo nickel without mint mark beats stronger than most. The simple truth is, most of these coins were lost to circulation, melted down, or worn into oblivion. The few that remain in collectible condition are hoarded tightly by serious collectors, and competition for them at auctions is nothing short of fierce. Demand for this coin is exploding. Why? Because it's not just about owning another Buffalo nickel. It's about owning one of the rarest dates in the entire series, one that stands apart as a cornerstone of any serious collection. Add to that its age, its history, and its striking beauty, and you have a coin that collectors will battle each other to secure. Been waiting for the revelation of just how much this coin is worth in today's market. A 1921 Buffalo nickel without mint mark, in fine condition, is currently valued at an earth-shaking $171,500. Yes, $171,500. For a nickel, for a coin you could have once found in change at the corner store. That's not a small fortune, that's a life-changing treasure, a vault of wealth locked into a 5-cent piece. And let me tell you, this price is not a guess. This is the absolutely current market value, rising higher with each passing year. Collectors know it. Investors know it. And anyone who lays eyes on this coin realizes instantly they're staring at a masterpiece that is not only priceless in history, but exploding in value. Do not take this lightly. This is no fiction. This is the real treasure market, and it is growing stronger every single day. So, what should collectors like you do when it comes to this legendary coin? Here's the secret. Never overlook a Buffalo nickel. Always check the date. Always look for that magical year, 1921. And most importantly, look for the absence of a mint mark beneath the words 5 cents. That is the mark of Philadelphia. Condition is everything. Even in fine grade, this coin becomes a fortune. If you ever discover one in better condition, the sky is truly the limit. My advice, if you're holding one of these coins, guard it like the crown jewel of your collection. It is not just metal. It is legacy. It is fortune. It is a treasure chest in your very hand. The 1921 Buffalo nickel without mint mark is not simply a collectible. It is a triumph of history, artistry, and wealth combined. To own one is to hold a century of American pride and a market treasure worth more than most people dream of. Remember, friends, this is what makes the world of rare coins so electrifying. Hidden in plain sight are fortunes that most people walk past without a second glance. But here on U.S. Coins Worth Secrets, we reveal these treasures truthfully, faithfully, and with the most up-to-date information every single day. Because this channel isn't just about coins, it's about unlocking the secrets to America's hidden wealth, one rare discovery at a time. So stay tuned, because the journey is not over yet. Our next coin is waiting, and I promise you it's going to be just as breathtaking, just as suspenseful, and just as valuable as what you've seen here today. Coin number 7. Imagine stepping back in time to over a century ago. The year was 1917. America was in the middle of monumental change. The First World War was reshaping nations, families, and futures. The U.S. Mint was tirelessly striking coins that would move through the hands of soldiers, farmers, and city workers alike. And among those coins was one of the most iconic, most symbolic, and today most valuable treasures of American coinage, the Buffalo nickel of 1917 without a mint mark. This isn't just another coin from history. This is a coin that has outlived empires, witnessed the sacrifices of a nation, and now, more than 100 years later, has transformed into a golden key for collectors, one that unlocks staggering wealth and undeniable prestige. Friends, you're about to discover why this single 5-cent piece is so much more than money. Its heritage, its beauty, its survival, and above all, it's an undeniable treasure. The Buffalo nickel, first introduced in 1913, had already captivated Americans with its bold design. Sculptor James Earl Fraser wanted to create a coin that truly embodied America's frontier spirit. He turned away from traditional portraits of presidents or classical figures, instead immortalizing the face of a proud Native American chief on the obverse and the image of a massive, untamed American bison on the reverse. By 1917, the Buffalo nickel had become a staple of American life. It was more than currency, it was art in the palm of every citizen's hand. But 1917 was no ordinary year. The United States had just entered the First World War. Every nickel carried the weight of uncertainty, courage, and hope. For many families, these coins weren't just change for a purchase. They were reminders of loved ones overseas and symbols of endurance during times of sacrifice. That is why the 1,917 Buffalo nickel stands apart. Each surviving example is more than a coin. It's a piece of a nation's struggle, triumph, and unbreakable spirit. What makes the 1917 Buffalo nickel without mint mark so incredibly unique is not just its design, but the subtle details that separate it from other years. First, this coin was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which means there is no mint mark. That tiny absence is what tells us it was produced at the heart of American coinage, the nation's primary mint, and gives the piece an extra layer of historical weight. Second, its artistry. Even in fine condition, the Native American profile retains an extraordinary dignity, the feather in his headdress, the strength in his gaze, the detail in the braids of his hair. On the reverse, the American bison still stands tall, a beast of raw power captured forever in nickel alloy. These details wear down quickly in circulation, so when a coin from 1917 still shows strength in its design after more than 100 years, collectors know it is something rare, something remarkable. This is not simply a coin, it is a sculpture in miniature, a canvas of American history, and a token of resilience that has stood unbroken through the ages. Nickel burns brighter than most. Think about it. How many nickels from 1917 still exist today in collectible condition? Very few. Most have been worn down, tossed aside, or lost forever. The ones that remain are tightly held by serious collectors, making every appearance in the market an event that sparks excitement and competition. The truth is, when a coin like this comes to auction, bidders don't just see nickel and copper. They see history, they see legacy, and they see value that grows stronger with every passing year. That's why collectors chase after it with passion, and why its price keeps climbing. This is not a coin that sits idle in the market. It's alive. It's moving. Its demand is surging higher and higher. Now, my friends, let's step into the treasure chest. Because the true magic of this coin is not just in its history or rarity, it's in its staggering present-day value. A 1917 Buffalo nickel without mint mark, in fine condition, is today valued at a jaw-dropping $177,500. Yes, you heard that correctly, $177,500. For a nickel, for something that once bought a stick of gum or a loaf of bread. That's not just a coin, that's a vault of treasure, a fortune you can hold between your fingers. And let me be clear, this is the current absolutely verified market value. Prices like this are not speculation. They are real, they are now, and they are rising. Day by day, this coin is climbing in value, and collectors are chasing it like gold. Owning one is not just ownership, it is having a treasure chest in your pocket, a piece of wealth that will never stop growing. Don't mistake this for exaggeration. Don't take it as fantasy. I'm telling you the truth, this coin is wealth, this coin is legacy, this coin is treasure. So, what should you, as a collector or an investor, do with this knowledge? The lesson is simple but powerful. Never underestimate the coin. Coins in your hand. Look carefully at every Buffalo nickel. Examine the date. If you see 1,917 and no mint mark, you could be staring at one of the greatest finds of your life. Condition matters, but even in fine grade, the value is astronomical. If you are lucky enough to own one, protect it. Store it properly. Preserve it for the future. Because as strong as its value is today, tomorrow it will be even stronger. This is the kind of coin that rewards patience. This is the kind of coin that builds fortunes. The 1917 Buffalo nickel without mint mark is more than the end of our list. It is the crown jewel, a shining example of why rare coins are treasures beyond imagination. It is history in your hand, wealth in your grasp, and a collector's dream come true. And friends, remember, this is what we do here at U.S. Coins Worth Secrets. We bring you the truth, the faith, the daily updates that guide you to the treasures hidden in plain sight. This is not fiction. This is not hype. This is the real, faithful, powerful world of coin collecting, and it is filled with riches waiting for those who look closely. Stay with us, because this journey is only beginning. We have more secrets to reveal, more treasures to uncover, and more wealth to place right in your hands. This channel is your daily gateway to the incredible world of your American coins, and together, we are unlocking history, value, and fortune every single day. Coin number 8. The story of American coinage is filled with mysteries, with legends, with treasures hiding in plain sight. And every once in a while, one coin stands out so strongly that it feels like destiny itself placed it in the hands of collectors, like a message from history saying, "Hold me, protect me, I am a treasure beyond imagination." Friends, today I bring you one such extraordinary coin, a relic from the roaring 1920s, a survivor from an era of jazz, prohibition, and booming industry. A coin that traveled through the lives of Americans a century ago, only to resurface today as one of the greatest collector's treasures on the market, the Buffalo nickel of 1925 without mint mark, in fine condition. Stay with me, because what you're about to discover is not just another old nickel. It is history, art, power, and staggering wealth rolled into one. Let us step back to 1925. America was dancing to the rhythm of jazz. Cities were alive with neon lights, Model T cars crowded the streets, and Prohibition speakeasies buzzed with excitement. It was an era of transformation, ambition, and style. Amid this cultural explosion, the U.S. Mint continued to strike one of its most beloved and iconic coins, the Buffalo nickel. Designed by James Earl Fraser, this coin had already captivated Americans since its debut in 1913. On its obverse, the proud profile of a Native American chief, drawn from the combined features of several real leaders of indigenous nations. On its reverse, the mighty American bison, a beast that symbolized both the spirit of the West and the untamed strength of a young nation. The 1925 issue, produced in Philadelphia with no mint mark, is a survivor from that dazzling age. Imagine the hands it passed through: workers, farmers, soldiers returning from the Great War, flappers and speakeasies, children buying candy, storekeepers balancing their tills. And yet, after nearly a century, some of these nickels survived. Scarce, rare, and today unimaginably valuable. So, what makes the 1925 Buffalo nickel without mint mark stand apart from the crowd? First, its artistry. Even in fine condition, the detail of the Native American's profile still strikes with boldness. The feathers, the braids, the strength in the expression. The reverse bison, though worn from circulation, remains a symbol of resilience and power. The 1925 strikes are known for their strong details compared to other years, and collectors immediately notice the sharpness in the portrait and the depth in the bison's form. Second, its identity. This coin carries no mint mark, which confirms it came from the Philadelphia Mint, the backbone of America's coinage system. That alone gives it a kind of purity, a central production piece of American history. Every scratch, every mark, every smooth spot on its surface tells a story. It's not damage, it's a timeline. A timeline of 100 years of endurance, from the roaring 20s all the way to your hands today. Here's where the heartbeat of this coin truly comes alive. The 1925 Buffalo nickel without mint mark is scarce, not only because of its age, but because so few examples in collectible condition remain today. Remember, Buffalo nickels were heavily used in circulation. Most wore down until the dates were completely gone. To find a 1925 Philadelphia Buffalo nickel still carrying its date, still recognizable, and still in fine condition is an achievement of rarity that collectors dream of. That scarcity has turned into fiery demand. Collectors are willing to fight tooth and nail to secure one of these coins at auction. Every time one appears, bidding escalates rapidly because they know the truth. The supply is shrinking, the demand is growing, and the prices are climbing to heights we've never seen before. This is not a coin you stumble upon every day. This is a coin that creates a frenzy when it surfaces. This is a coin that defines serious collections. And now, the moment that transforms history into treasure, the current value of this coin. A 1925 Buffalo nickel without mint mark in fine condition is today valued at a staggering $159,000. Yes, let that number sink in. $159,000. For a nickel, for a piece of metal that once bought a loaf of bread in the 1920s. Today, it stands as a vault of treasure and investment and a fortune that could change your life overnight. And let me assure you, this figure is not outdated. It is not speculation. This is the absolutely current market price, and it is climbing higher every single day. This is not fiction, I'm telling you the truth. The value of this coin is increasing, and the treasure in its worth is becoming bigger and bigger as time passes. When you hold this coin, you're not just holding 5 cents, you're holding a big treasure chest in miniature form. That's how powerful, how valuable, how extraordinary it is. So, what should collectors take from this incredible story? The lesson is simple yet profound. Look carefully at every buffalo nickel you encounter. Check the date. If you see 1925 with no mint mark, you may be holding a treasure worth more than you can imagine. Condition is key. Fine grade, as we've seen, is already worth a fortune. Higher grades soar even further. Protect it. Store it safely. Get it graded by a reputable service. And above all, hold on to it. Because as rare as it is now, the future will make it even rarer, and its value will only keep climbing. For serious collectors, this coin is a must-have. For beginners, it is a reminder of why you should always keep your eyes open, always check your pocket change, and always research every coin you find. Treasure hides in plain sight. The 1925 Buffalo nickel without mint mark is not just a coin, it is a legacy of the Roaring '20s, a piece of history that is transformed into a financial treasure chest and a collector's dream come true. Here at U.S. Coins Worth Secrets, I give you the truth, the faith, the fresh and daily updates that keep you ahead in this world of hidden riches. This channel is trustful, faithful, and built to bring you the secrets that others overlook. Remember, the market value of this coin is $159,000 today, and it is rising steadily. Wait for time. It will only grow. It will only become greater. This is not a small treasure. This is a big fortune, waiting for the wise, waiting for the faithful collector who recognizes its true worth. Stay tuned because our journey is far from over. More treasures are waiting, more secrets are ready to be revealed, and the next coin could be the one that changes everything for you. Coin number 9. There are moments in the journey of every coin collector when the ordinary suddenly transforms into the extraordinary. When a simple piece of change becomes something far greater than itself. Something with a heartbeat, a story, and a treasure-like value that can leave you speechless. Friends, we are entering that realm again, and today's treasure is one of the most breathtaking nickels ever struck. The 1934 Buffalo nickel with a D mint mark, in very fine condition. But hold on tight, because this is no ordinary story. This is a tale of American history, artistry, survival, and staggering wealth, all bound together in a single coin. And if you think nickels are common pocket change, this story will completely rewrite what you thought you knew. Let's rewind time to the year 1934. America was clawing its way out of the depths of the Great Depression. The country was rebuilding hope after years of hardship. Families were struggling, jobs were scarce, but the American spirit was alive, resilient, determined, unstoppable. In this fragile yet powerful moment, the Denver Mint was hard at work producing one of the most beloved coins in U.S. history, the Buffalo nickel. Created by the brilliant sculptor James Earl Fraser, this design captured something no other coin ever had. On one side, the noble face of a Native American leader, drawn from the real features of indigenous chiefs who represented strength, pride, and tradition. On the other side, the mighty American bison, the very symbol of the untamed frontier, a creature that once thundered across the plains in herds of millions. Now imagine this coin struck in Denver in 1934, during a time when every cent mattered to the struggling American family. Each one carried history, each one carried survival, and only a few lived to see this day in collectible condition. What makes the 1934 with D Buffalo nickel so extraordinary is not only its connection to that era, but also its striking beauty. Even in very fine condition, the details stand proudly. The Native American profile remains bold. The braids, the feather, the strong cheekbones carved into the metal as if they were frozen in time. The reverse tells its own story. The massive bison, rugged and proud, standing as a monument to American strength. The D mint mark, stamped beneath the words 5 cents, is the fingerprint of the Denver Mint. It transforms this coin from an ordinary Philadelphia strike into a special regional treasure. Collectors instantly recognize the rarity of the 1934 with D issue, and the presence of that small letter D adds layers of identity and desirability. This isn't just another Buffalo nickel. It is a Denver-born treasure that carries its own distinguished heritage. Now here's where the excitement truly ignites. The 1934 with D Buffalo nickel was not struck in massive numbers like some of the earlier issues. Surviving pieces in very fine condition are especially scarce because these coins were workhorses of their time. They circulated heavily during the Depression years, passed from hand to hand in every corner of the country, worn down until many became nearly unrecognizable. To find one today with its date clearly visible, with strong details preserved and in the much-desired very fine grade, this is no small achievement. This is rare. This is demand at its highest. Every time a 1934 with D Buffalo nickel comes up at auction, collectors sharpen their focus. They know that supply is limited, demand is exploding, and the chance to own one is fleeting. Bidding wars erupt. Prices climb like wildfire. And those lucky enough to secure it know they are holding not just a coin, but a financial jewel. And now, the moment that makes hearts race and imaginations explode, the current market value of this treasure. A 1934 Buffalo nickel with a D mint mark, in very fine condition, commands an unbelievable price today. $152,500. Yes, you heard that right. $152,500 for a single nickel. What once jingled in the pockets of Americans in the 1930s is today worth a staggering fortune, a treasure chest in miniature form. And let me emphasize, this figure is not old, it is not inflated, it is not wishful thinking. This is the absolutely current market price, a reflection of today's auctions and today's demand. The value is not standing still. It is climbing day after day, year after year. This coin is wealth in its purest form. It is like holding big money, real treasure, undeniable proof that a collector's dream can transform into overnight fortune. Wait for time and the market will only make it greater. Don't take this as fiction, I'm telling you the truth. First, never overlook Buffalo nickels. Every single one deserves a second glance. Check the dates. Check for mint marks. Especially look for the 1934 with D, because even in modest conditions, it carries tremendous value, and in very fine grade, it transforms into a treasure of extraordinary wealth. Second, preservation is everything. If you are fortunate enough to find one, protect it. Store it properly. Get it graded by a trusted service. And if you're hunting, remember that auction houses and estate sales sometimes reveal miracles. Coins like this hiding in plain sight, waiting for the right collector to recognize them. Finally, have faith in the future. This coin is already worth more than most people ever imagined for a nickel, but its journey is not over. With time, it will only grow more desirable, more valuable, more untouchable. The 1934 with D Buffalo nickel in very fine condition is nothing short of breathtaking. It is history preserved in metal. It is artistry carved by Fraser's genius. It is rarity elevated by survival. And above all, it is a treasure worth $152,500 today and growing. When you hold this coin, you are holding more than a nickel. You are holding a legacy, a fortune, a piece of America's soul. And remember, my friends, here at U.S. Coins Worth Secrets, we give you the truth, the faithful updates, the powerful knowledge you need every single day. This channel is trustful, faithful, and committed to bringing you treasures that others ignore. Stay tuned, because we are not finished yet. More rare nickels, more treasures, more secrets are still waiting to be revealed. And who knows, the next coin we uncover together might just be the one that makes you rich overnight.